are now live. Hang on.
Hello, everybody. Hello, hello, hello. We're just dealing with some technical little things. One of the big questions we have for all of you, and we'll be looking a lot at the Hoover app. What? Anyway, is can you see 6 of us? Reply in Hoover and tell us, can you see 6 people or 1 person? And if you can only see 1 person, is it me, Steve, who is speaking, or is it Sarah, who has randomly had a yellow box around her for the whole time I was talking? Because Zoom was like, Sarah Jones is just more interesting than you, Steve. Just go away. So that's what... Oh, the stream is live. We've got the Q&A where I've been... telling off Maia's mum for not adding to my... So the replies we're getting is 1 person can only see me, 1 person can see 4 people. So it's all very odd. Anyway, maybe they can only see Audrey. Can you
maybe
only
they
see
took
Audrey?
An average.
Mate, you're going to do the whole show only seeing Audrey. 4, 6. Hi, hi, hi. Hello, everyone. Hello, 666. You can see 2. So Hoover is showing random numbers of competitors to everybody. This is very exciting. So we're not quite sure how this is going to work, but we'll go for it. Hello, everybody. Hello. Hello. Those of you who can see me, I'm Steve Cross. Welcome to the shed at the end of my garden, from where I bring science comedy and brilliant people to the world. Tonight you've joined us for Never Explain. Never Explain is a comedy panel show with science in. And the things you need to know about it are, number 1, I just friend requested Maia's mum on her second Facebook account. Anyone following in the chat will know what I'm talking about. The second thing you need to know is I'm going to ask 2 incredible teams a series of questions. They're going to give me brilliant, hilarious, funny answers. And every time they say something which makes me laugh, or would make me laugh if I had what you humans call emotions, you'll hear this noise. And that noise means that they've scored a point. But who's keeping track of all the points, Steve? Over. She's from the Swindon area. All of our acts tonight are from the Swindon area. And I say that as a Londoner, meaning anywhere west of Ealing. So basically, there's a line that stretches Reading, Swindon. It is the Great Western Railway. It stretches Reading, Swindon, Bath, Bristol. That's all the Swindon area. Wales, that's the Swindon area. Keep going. New York, that's the Swindon area. Roughly, it's west of London.
West Swindon.
So our incredible scorer is from the Swindon area, and she is...
Oh, am I meant to be introducing myself? Hello.
That would be lovely if you don't mind, Sarah. She's the incredible Sarah who's going to talk, and the spotlight's going to jump to her in Hoover like this.
Hello, my name's Sarah Jones. Me and Steve have done hundreds of these, and this is the first time I've ever had to introduce myself, and that's why I was confused.
Well, I thought a special treat for the people of the Swindon area would be you introducing yourself. Sarah, you're back in London. You were in Wales for ages.
Yeah. Yeah.
Have they not invented trains back or something?
Yeah, I mean, really, the trains were just so expensive. I just couldn't get out again.
I understand. I understand. That's one of the problems of going home for Christmas. Unless your parents give you a fat check, you're staying there. And we've got 2 incredible teams who are going to be answering my questions. So first of all, we're going to go to... I don't know what the teams are called yet, so we're going to find that out. But we're going to go to... sorry, Sarah?
I've named them. So Maia and Jess are team Maia's mum is watching.
Right, so we're going to go first of all to team Maia's mum is watching and meet Maia herself. Maia, hello, who are you? What are your science and comedy credentials?
Hello everyone, my name is Maia. I work for UK Research and Innovation in Swindon.
Oh, is that what it stands for?
That is what it stands for, Steve.
Oh, I thought it was UK Really Interesting. I thought it was just one up from QI.
Yeah, let's go with that. So I work for the Global Food Security Programme. I was trained as a geneticist. I am a very happy PhD dropout. And now I'm retraining in climate science and particularly the politics side.
Oh, that sounds incredible.
Yeah, so that's me. I've lived in Swindon for 2.5 years. I recently moved to the Cotswolds during lockdown.
Hello.
I'm so sorry. But Swindon has a very dear place in my heart.
I mean, the Cotswolds, it's still the Swindon area, isn't it? By my definition.
Definitely.
Yeah, there we go. You can get a train through it to Swindon.
Can't tell the difference.
Once I was performing at a festival in the Cotswolds and they said, why don't you get a train to Swindon and then get the bus? And my answer was, because I'm not insane. Let's find out who's joining Maia on Maia's team. Hello, hello, hello. Let's go to Jessamyn. What are your science and comedy credentials, Jess?
I am a physicist, and I'm sorry about that. I'm a physics lecturer at the National University of Ireland, Galway, so kind of west Swindon. And I'm also a comedian and improviser. I run Bright Club in Ireland, and I'm delighted to be able to be part of this from across the Irish Sea.
Incredible. And what's your team name? Your team, oh, sorry, we know your team name. It's Maia's mum is watching.
I should say
Maia,
I'm also a big fan of Maia's mum.
Yes. Who isn't, you know? Let's go over to the other team who, what are they called, Sarah?
Right, so originally I called them Cool Kids Don't Wear Headphones based on something they said, but I've just realised they're both wearing headphones, so do you want to be... You're going to be Cool Kids?
No, I think that's a lovely bit of self-deprecation by them, is that they're saying only the other team and you are cool kids. I'm wearing one headphone. Let's find out who they are. Shivani, hello. Hello, Shivani Dave. Can you tell everybody what your science and comedy credentials are?
Hello, hello. I did study physics at university and call myself a former physicist because I never actually did any real physics. But then I was on 5 Live recently and the presenters were like, you can't be a former physicist, you're just a physicist. And I was like, okay, fine. So apparently I'm a physicist. It was on the BBC, so it must be true. And I have done comedy in some dark and dingy basements of pubs when those things were open. Remember them?
No. I've been in lockdown for so long doing childcare, I've got no memory of anything at all. I barely remember yesterday. That's what looking after 2-year-old twins does to you. Let's find out who Shivani's incredible teammate is. Audrey, hello. Do you want to say a little thing to our wonderful audience out there?
I'm Audrey Nayl, and when I was a little girl, I was going to be a scientist, and then I was going to go into science publishing, and then I was going to go into science policy, and I was going to do lab work and all these cool things. And I've actually done all those things, except I forgot to do a PhD. Technically I'm a biologist, and I do work for a physics-oriented organization. And my science comedy credentials are mostly doing things for Steve. So it's really all Steve's fault. And I think the highlight of that was when we went to the Summer Science Festival at the Royal Society, and I just, you know, as you do it in a comedy bit, I dropped the F-bomb, and that just fell into a deep pit of water, and the ripples spread. But that was the highlight.
Was that the gig that we had to do in the tent with no lights when it went dark?
Yeah.
Yeah. The way you solved that, by the way, if any of you are comedy experts, the way I solved that was I got the whole front row to put the torches on their phones and hold them up to illuminate whoever was speaking. Thank you. That's all of our wonderful, wonderful teams. Apparently on Hoover, it's showing you sometimes the person who's speaking and sometimes just random other people. So we'll try and deal with that as we go along. And if you're looking at me and you're hearing someone else, I'm going to be trying to do reactions to everything that all of our wonderful actors say. So you know how it works. I ask a question, people do answers. Right, and because we heard from Audrey last, I'm going to come to Audrey first on our first question. And our first question is this. Teams, congratulations, you've just been made into a god. What are you going to change about the laws of science and why? And I turn here to the god Audrey Nayl.
Thank you very much. As a new god, I am going to be conducting a review of the historical laws of science that disproportionately favored straight white men, cisgender straight white men, and older ones as well. So, for example, the second law of thermodynamics, in which entropy increases in a closed system, that's actually really discriminatory for people with ADHD and other neurodiversities. So we'll be reviewing that. The linear nature of time is actually really hard on millennials, as we conducting a strict review of that. Gravity, homophobic, canceled. And personal interest, there's an area of materials that are both hydrophobic and lipophobic. And we are going to be getting rid of those entirely because it's just biphobic.
Amazing. Although as soon as you said there's a group of materials that are hydrophobic and lipophobic, I thought, how do I coat everything in my house with those? Because today my kids got chocolate on everything. They got wee on everything because my partner was like, let them not wear a nappy for an hour. So they weed on things. Although the first thing that happened was that my son did a poo on a copy of New Statesman. Think of that, the political commentary that you will. Thank you so much, Audrey. Let's fly over now to Maia. Maia, tell me. Maia, You've just been made a god. Congratulations. What one thing are you, well, what are you going to change about the laws of science and why? It doesn't say one thing in the question, Steve. Don't add things. Right. What are you going to change about the laws of science and why, Maia?
I am going to change just one thing about the laws of science because I'm quite a lazy god, but I'm also a very benevolent god. And so I think that I'd be doing humanity the greatest justice by like eliminating Heisenberg's uncertainty principle. Basically, this uncertainty principle means that you cannot know the position and the velocity of a subatomic particle at the same time. Now, I'm thinking that if I can eliminate uncertainty on a subatomic level, then I can eliminate uncertainty in the entire universe. So I would no longer have to ponder things like, who am I? What am I doing with my life? Where are my keys? Like, why am I attracted to Michael Sheen? Like, am I pregnant or did I just eat bread? So basically that's the idea. Eliminate uncertainty from the universe and then be on my way.
Now, I should say every point there was for Maia admitting that she's lazy at the beginning. It's just a long-term thing in our relationship. Thank you so much, Maia. That was wonderful, wonderful to hear about how you're going to change the world. I like the bit in the middle, though, where Jessamyn was looking at me with a look which said, actually, with my incredibly advanced apparatus, I can tell both the position and the movement of the particle because I'm that good a physicist. But we'll come back to Jessamyn and find out what an incredible physicist she is in a little while. But now we're going to fly over to Wiltshire, which I believe is where Swindon is. Right, Swindon, people forget that it's the cultural capital of an area that spreads all the way from Ealing to the Midwest of America. Like technically New York. It's a satellite of Swindon. That's what people forget about Swindon. We're going to go to Shivani. Shivani, tell me. Good news. You've just been made a god. What are you going to change about the laws of science and why?
Thank you for my newfound powers. I would, as Audrey said, make time not linear because I am one of those suffering millennials. Let me give you an example. Today was a beautiful day. I don't know if you opened the window. Steve, I know you're very busy with the kids, so probably not. But it was sunny. And it might have been the best day of my life after like a year in lockdown and having a freezing cold winter. But as a vitamin D starved South Asian person, I ran to the park faster than a Karen could say, "Can I speak to the manager?" And I spent all day lying there in the British heat of 14 degrees, basically a heat wave, acting like I was some white bloke called Steve from London trying to get a tan in Mallorca.
Incredible work. Now, I should say I did go outside today just wearing a T-shirt because for me it was warm. Here's a list of the things that my son decided to lick. The sand in the sandpit, the patio, a chair, the food waste bin, a basketball. He found something where a little bit of rain had settled, just like a bit of foil that was outside, picked it up, downed the rain that had been there about 4 days. It's no wonder he's got the shits. That's all I'm saying. Yeah, I did go outside. I regretted it. I should not have done. Also, what I learned is my kids are really good at doing commando rolls. They both fell over going down some stairs and managed to roll so they didn't hurt themselves. They were just covered in mud. I'm a great parent. What are you talking about? Thank you, Shivani. Let's go over to somebody who, plays with the laws of nature on a daily basis at a fundamental level. She's just fucking about with how it is the universe works. Jessamyn Fairfield. Jessamyn, tell me, what are you going to change about science?
I'm really concerned with the laws of biology. And I have to say specifically laws of pregnant biology, because I don't think that they were done right. So here's what I propose. Detachable womb, right? I've learned during lockdown, I can keep plants alive. So I could just water and feed a womb. I could put like a wet towel around it so it doesn't dry out. I could put it by the heater to stay warm. Our cat would probably sleep on it, which would be cute. Also, a detachable womb would not have to be attached to a human back. So it wouldn't throw everything off balance. Like I'm in month 8 now. I have pelvic pain. I strained my back yesterday. I'm actually icing it during this gig. Why isn't pregnancy more ergonomic? Like imagine if I just had like a slimy backpack that I could carry around and it could have like a little clear panel. So, those backpacks that you carry cats around and it could have like that so the baby could just like look around once it can open its eyes. Final reason why I'm pro detachable womb, I wouldn't have to carry it by myself. Like, look, there were 2 people involved in me getting pregnant. So maybe we should be swapping who carries the baby around until it can survive in the outside world. By which I obviously just mean our apartment because we're still in lockdown.
It's a very sad story. Brilliant, brilliant answer. Sarah, would you mind just taking a point off Jessamyn? Because my partner messaged me in that and said, why is Jessamyn moaning about being pregnant with only one baby? Because I have twins. Yep. Yes, those of you who've only had one baby at a time, I just have this to say to you, you lazy bastards. Jessamyn, so the things you need to know if you're having one kid, the number one risk is that you get gout from all the rich living you do while your one child is asleep on its own. Let's find out from Sarah Jones how the teams are doing. It's the end of round one. Sarah Jones.
Well, just behind at the moment, we've got Cool Kids Don't Wear Headphones on Index Scythe.
Yes! Sorry, for those of you who don't know, Sarah Jones, being from the Swindon-area, only knows odd numbers in Welsh and only knows even numbers in English.
Maia's mum has every reason to be proud because their team is just ahead at the moment on Daidegin.
Yes, that's a good score, 21. We're now going to move on to the round two. And round two is great lists of science. I'm going to give our teams the title of a PowerPoint slide, and they're going to tell me bullet points that they would like to see on that PowerPoint slide. Now, Maia's already brought up, I should say, I write these questions very late at night and often in a weird mood. So questions in this round in the past have included, how do I get rid of this wasp? Backhanded compliments for the other team, and Maia literally said it earlier, where are my keys, was a question that we did in this round once. We got some fantastic suggestions, and I did find my keys based on one of those suggestions. They were under my bed, after all, hidden there by a child, of course, who were like, this looks important, put it somewhere Dad's never going to find it. So teams, jump in whenever you have something interesting to say, and try and rack up as many as you can, because you get a point for every single good one. Your first topic is this. I want to know the last thing the scientists said before the disaster.
Well, this is more of a comment than a question.
Trust me, I have a PhD.
Speedy, can it wait? Mummy's on Zoom.
Not sure why you'd bring that up now.
A PhD is a proper doctorate. Medical doctors took the title from us.
Nobody panic, guys. Bill Gates will fix it.
Hey, great news, guys. I've identified the leak.
Now that
To
you've
anyone
all
who
heard
couldn't
the facts,
see Audrey at that point, that one is completely wasted. So an extra point to Audrey for doing visual comedy in what, for some people, due to the bizarreness of Hoover, is essentially an audio medium with a middle-aged white guy sitting in the middle of it. Keep them coming.
now that you've all heard the facts, I hope you'll act quickly, senators.
Dr. Dawkins, thank you so much for joining our ethics committee.
It's
I'd love
very
to
unlikely that this will ignite the atmosphere.
I'd love to be able to help, but I studied biology.
I studied biology. Keep them coming.
Because it's there.
So was it metric or imperial?
I prefer to
I might
keep
start
science
Metric
and
College London
politics
just for the
separate.
ultimate trolling. Sorry, Maia, your turn. Go.
I prefer to keep science and politics separate at all times.
Stop plugging your ears whenever I say climate change.
I heard gravity was cancelled by a new god?
Have you considered herd immunity as a strategy?
If we just let all the old people die out, we should be fine.
One day we will be the old people. Also, compared to Shivani, I'm already one of the old people. Right, let's move on. Let's move on to the second one in our list for round two, and it is this. Friends, tell me science facts that we all wish were true.
Size doesn't matter.
Technology will save us from global warming.
When you hear they've invented a vaccine or they've discovered a new bird or they've photographed Saturn, it's like it's just one very productive non-binary scientist.
All scientists are trying to do is make the world a better place.
Are you still doing question one?
No, I wish it were true.
Zoom quizzes are making the virus mutate quicker. I'm going to give underachieving as a sign of intelligence.
Yeah. Yeah.
Girls will fancy you.
Wait.
That's brilliant. It's in the movie Done. That's brilliant. It's in
Shivani, what were you saying?
I was going to say girls will fancy if you're funny.
Meritocracy.
Science can't be sexist, racist, or homophobic.
Scientists can, though. Jesus. Right, let's move on to the third one in our list. And the third one in our list, I told you I write these late at night. We're here at the Festival of Tomorrow, or to give it its full title, the Festival of Sunday the 21st of February 2021. It's a weird date that they decided to zoom in on and make a whole festival about it. So weird that so many people had so much to say about it, about what's going to happen on Sunday 21st of February 2021. But I have this question for all of you. What should I, Steve, do tomorrow?
Make sure your kids wear nappies.
I think Steve should rethink, reskill, reboot, retrain in cyber.
Well, I've got a little box that makes ding noises. I call that retraining in cyber.
You should let
It
Jones
even does
ask the
Pierce
questions,
Brosnan.
and he.
Sorry,
keeps score.
Jessamyn.
Sorry.
Jessamyn, tell me again, because I was talking over you, which is what I do.
Tomorrow, you should let Jones ask the questions, and you keep score.
I think you should test your eyesight by driving to Barnard Castle with your kids.
My eyesight's great. Look at these glasses. They solve everything.
I think you should invent a new, like, Myers-Briggs style personality quiz grift.
I think you should spend the whole day in Swindon, just having the time of your life. Not the Swindon area, just Swindon.
Just Swindon itself, right.
I think you should, oh, sorry.
I think you should remortgage your house and invest in Bitcoin.
Have I not got enough mortgages, Maia? Jeepers.
You should get a proper job.
You should build robot versions of your twins. So you have twins.
Audrey telling me that I need a proper job. Sorry, Jessamyn, I keep doing sound effects over you. Go on.
That's all right. You should build robot versions of your twins so that you have twins.
No. That's 4 babies to look after. Like, no. If I'm going to build anything,
sleep.
I'm going to
How about
build.
this? Sleep.
I'm going to build a robot babysitter.
You should learn Welsh so you stop exploiting Jones.
Don't get it, but yeah, here's a point.
Stalk my mother on Facebook.
I'm already doing that.
Wow.
Hi, Astrid. Hi.
I think you should make a definite map of what is the Swindon area for the world to actually know.
Any more, friends? Tell me, what should I do tomorrow?
Don't you have a drag into dungeon?
I do, actually. I am recording my incredibly successful Dungeons and Dragons podcast, Chaotic Adequate, available on all good podcast areas. I'll be recording an episode of that tomorrow. There's an extra point for Audrey for giving me a chance to advertise my wildly successful Dungeons and Dragons podcast. That's Chaotic Adequate. It also features Sarah Jones.
I hope your mom's watching this, Steve. I'm sure she'll be really proud.
My mum lives in the Swindon-area, fun fact. Any more for me, friends? Amazing. Right, that's the end of round 2. We're going to find out now we're going to fly into the Swindon area. No, we're not, because Sarah's come back from Wales and she's in my flat. Not the flat I live in. That would be weird. Also, she'd have to do a lot of babysitting. Let's go to Sarah and find out what are the scores. What are the scores, Sarah? How are these teams doing? I feel I've pressed the button a lot.
Well, currently we've got cool kids do/don't wear headphones on Pedway Tree.
Ooh, it's a big score after 2 rounds. That was, I think, possibly the best round 2 we've ever had. You all wrote loads more. Normally people write 1. And I'm like, I've got to get 8 minutes out of this round, and I can't do it by you saying 1 word each. But let's find out how the leaders are doing.
Well, are they leaders or are they not? Let's find out. Team Red / Maia's mum is watching are also on Pedway Tree.
People think I just pressed the button at random, but look how close it is. Look how close it is, friends. We're going to move on to round 3 now. As I said, this is the festival tomorrow, and jokingly, I said they mean the 21st of February 2021, but they don't. They actually mean tomorrow in the metaphorical sense, meaning a longer period of time before today. The future, you could call it, if you believed in such a thing. So the question I have for all of you is this: what will Swindon be like in 2050? And we're going to go the reverse of the order that we had for the first question, which means I'm going to Professor Lord Jessamyn Fairfield, the boss of all physics, first. Jessamyn, tell me, what will Swindon be like in 2050? Because you are from America and you live in Galway. You must know Swindon well.
Yeah, I mean, I live in Ireland. I'm from the US. So I kind of am hoping that 2050 Swindon will be a place that's so famous that I don't have to Google to figure out where it is. I think it could even be the new capital of the European Union. I don't know if it's too soon for that. The glittering center of everything, you know, like, because I don't know Swindon well, I'm just going sky high here, you know, art, culture, basic scientific research just being done for the good of everyone. No like weapons manufacturers or cutthroat capitalists involved. And also, since I don't know anything about Swindon, I'm pretty sure it'll be like just the perfect place, you know, sunny all summer long, enough snow in the winter that you can build a snowman, but not so much that there's ice on the roads. Free coffees for everyone, safe parks, a universal vaccine for every Swindonian. Swindonite? Swindoneer? Go Swindoneers! Yeah, they all say. Swindon 2050.
Incredible. So there we go. If you are here from the University of Swindon, or even the University of Swindon Brooks, why not hire Professor Lord Jessamyn Fairfield to come and be the boss of physics at your university, if either of those universities exists? Amazing. That was wonderful. Thank you for doing such in-depth research that really showed that you'd really gone to great depths to think about the local area and its history, and how many kexes it has, and where the good charity shops are, and other things that I know about Swindon. Brilliant. That was a lovely answer. But we're going to go to I'm trying to remember who's on which team. Yes, we're going to Shivani next, aren't we? Shivani, tell me. Shivani, with your incredible art collection behind you. I mean, it looks, on a quick glance, Jessamyn's art collection looks more expensive until you realise that, like, that's just a physics-themed thing you can order from a Chinese factory. And Shivani's stuff, it just looks a bit more, you know, there's more curation behind it, is what I'm saying. So, Shivani, tell me, what will Swindon be like in 2050? It's an area you know well and keep correcting me on the geography of. I'm expecting a great answer.
Well, I want to live in that version of 2050 Swindon, but actually my version of 2050 Swindon shows this will be the Swindon Museum Art Gallery, because currently it's already at least open compared to the real one. Swindon will still be campaigning to be a city, to no avail, because it is just a town. Speaking of Swindon Town, the football team will be on their 20th manager from now, because if they keep up at the pace they are, then that'll probably be about right. We won't ever bother learning his name because he'll only be in the seat for about 6 months. And I will have been stuck on the magic roundabout from 2030, just driving round and 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 round.
Incredible. What a wonderful answer. And science fans out there, you're thinking, but if Shivani's been driving round and round the magic roundabout, what are they going to do about, you know, poo and wee and having a drink and crisps and things like that? But there will be scientific answers to those problems in 2030 that Shivani will be able to take advantage of.
I love the town.
Yeah.
I
Swindon's where you used to go.
Swindon.
Swindon's where you go shopping, isn't it? It's like your big day out. You go to Swindon.
Yeah.
Go to Woolworths. I know it's gone. Go to Debenhams. I know it's gone. Go to House of Fraser. It's still there, but it's not really, is it? Maplin, that's gone.
You know what? You know what is there? HMV.
I know. I'm like, Swindon lives in the past, and you go, no, we've got an HMV. That's just a point for me. For HMV is it still really overpriced? Is it still like 50% more than any record shop? Oh, you don't know? There aren't any other record shops anymore. Sorry, that was me answering my own question, which is terribly rude, except when you do it for comedy purposes. Shivani, can you talk us through your art collection? Because I've got some like points floating around that I feel like giving away. And I was just wondering if you could tell us about the masterpieces that are behind you.
I can, yes. So this here at the top is the very first thing I ever embroidered. It is a little power fist in a rainbow.
Point for skills.
Thank you very much. This is a poster of a Keith Haring exhibition from Tate, Liverpool. I just like it, and I like Keith Haring, and he did lots of very good things. So props to him. This is just a cheap free flyer thing that I picked up at maybe the Tate when I went to see an artist called Audrey Beardsley. This is a Kandinsky that I have framed in a very cheap frame, but it makes it look classy. This is a rainbow flag because gay. And this is a little atom thing that has been embroidered by my very good friend in the non-binary colours because I'm non-binary.
Incredible. Just, I mean, covering all of the bases there. If we were trying to keep every member of our audience happy with a single work, you've got everybody in all of that. That's incredible, beautiful work. Well done. That was a lot of points. I'm not going to give anyone else the option to get those because I'll be honest, Audrey's cupboards aren't that interesting. But we are now, who did I start with? Jessamyn. So it's Maia. We're going to go to Maia. She's a bit of a shelf.
My ghost interesting.
Noticeable. What?
The ghost.
That's your shadow. Brilliant. Right, we're going to go to Maia. Maia, are you at work?
I'm not at work, but I am at my desk. Okay, so I'm going to...
So in your house, you have a corkboard full of notes telling you to do things and shelves full of what looks like work equipment.
No, I have like really bad ADD. So if I don't put something on the corkboard, I will forget it exists forever. And I need to put at least 15 things on the corkboard before I take note of one of them.
This might be an insensitive question, but does that mean you can be manipulated by people sticking things on your corkboard and then you do them?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right, good.
It also means I'm really easily distracted by a pinging noise whenever I'm talking.
If any of you have ever tried to book Maia Elliott for any sort of online gig, why not stick something to the corkboard that says, why not write your answers more than 2 hours before the show? I know that's what I should have done. If anyone lives with you, I'm going to pay them to just put things on that board whenever you're doing any work for me. Let's find out. Maia, tell me. You know Swindon well. You lived there for 2.5 years and then you ran away to live on the set of This Country. Wonderful BBC Three comedy. What will Swindon be like in 2050?
Okay, so I'm really going to paint a picture here. I want you to think, imagine Swindon, but global warming has caused flooding of the entire UK. And this has like eliminated a lot of beautiful natural heritage sites and buildings. Swindon, however, is completely unscathed because it's essentially looking even better than it did in 2020. During the kind of big Swindon Borough Council meetings where they decided what to do about the flooding, instead of building flood defences, they decided to build like floating roundabouts. And despite nobody having a boat, this kind of expansion was relentless until 2040. Until the good people of Swindon finally rose up and banned all male engineers from the town planning committee. Most people now live on the roundabout islands. People who don't live in the former David Murray John Tower, which has been lovingly renamed after Swindon's very own Billy Piper. But in an ill-fated attempt to stop people jumping off the 21st story, they now have to blare out the tide is high every hour.
Incredible, incredible answer. I've got this vision of just Shivani swimming round and round and round around about island for 20 years. The thing is, like, if you jumped out of the 21st tower, is that not a really brilliant Olympic dive now, rather than a way of doing yourself any sort of damage?
I reckon you'd do yourself some sort of damage if you weren't an Olympic swimmer.
Yeah,
I mean, try it by all means. Maybe that's something Steve should do tomorrow.
No, because swimming pools aren't open. I didn't realise that Billy Piper was a Swindon. Do you know any other famous Swindon people, Maia?
No.
Oh, I was going to give you a point for every single one you got, but none at all is the answer.
No.
I know Jessamyn gave you death. The viewers can't see that Jessamyn gave you death eyes. As I said, I would have given you a point for every one, and you went.
I couldn't name any either, so I really don't have a leg to stand on here.
Well, at least you did your research. But anyway, we're now going to go Are you all right, Audrey? Did you just get scared by something? Do you want me to go to you, or is there a problem?
No, I thought of someone famous from Swindon, but I'm sitting on it.
Who is it? Do you want a point, or are you going to include it in your answer?
Oh no, I think it might be the band Oasis.
No,
Yep.
they're just. Oh.
No, they're from the Swindon-area.
Right?
But you've also got that old fella from The Apprentice, the one that's not Alan Sugar.
Yeah.
And you've got Ivo Graham, the comedian, who apparently was too busy to do this event.
Who?
Ivo Graham.
Famous people from Swindon. Come on. The man whose name we can't remember who sits next to Alan Sugar is famous. But Ivo Graham, the well-known comedian, no. He'd be on this show. I would have booked him if he was famous. I've never heard of him. Let's fly over to Audrey Nayl in the Swindon area. Oasis is definitely from the Swindon area. That was a brilliant answer. As are the Wu-Tang Clan, by my definitions, just to be clear. I've met a member of the Wu-Tang Clan. Point if anyone can guess which member of the Wu-Tang Clan I have met. I'll tell you, it's on brand. It's not the old dirty bastard, before anyone says that. It was the genius, of course. I've met the genius from the Wu-Tang Clan at a science communication conference, a special secret meeting of all of the most self-important science communicators in the world. I was on a panel with Neil deGrasse Tyson. Let's fly over to Audrey Nayl, who knows the Swindon area well and will have a brilliantly informed answer for this, unlike Jessamyn.
I mean, my answer is actually super similar to Jessamyn, so I was really excited for that because I feel like the only thing wrong with Swindon is that it is unfortunately full of British people, but that's nothing that can't be cured. And Americans actually really like Swindon because there's nothing really wrong with it. And by 2050, in like, as Jessamyn said, like the post-Brexit climate chaos, globally destabilized, I think we probably will make something of it, Americans, I mean. So like I have, like, and it's kind of hard to explain. So I've made this diorama. So here's Signal Point. It's the American Embassy now. Here's some Whitewater Canal rafting. Here's Ye Olde Old Town, which is old. We're gonna rebrand it as Sunny Swindon. I thought we needed kind of like a mascot, kind of like Gritty or like a Japanese city mascot. So like I crafted him out of gears because steampunk's coming back. And I was kind of going for like steampunk kind of, I accidentally landed on, they're taking the hobbits to Heisenberg.
Impressive.
So what you can't really see is that this is meant to be an Oasis Leisure Center, which is what the band Oasis is named after. It's the water park, and here's the dark magic roundabout.
That's brilliant. It's in the movie Done.
Fantastic. Audrey there, creating something that will no doubt be in Swindon Museum following this as one of the great cultural artefacts produced at the Festival of Tomorrow. Up top, you can't see him, viewers, but I can see our organizer, Rod, and he's smiling, a big, broad smile about that incredible thing, the future of Swindon. Now, the thing you need to know is that I did actually spend a year as the co-director of a team of futurologists, and I can tell you there's some great futures thinking, The part of the secret is you always say futures, because that way you're not wrong. You say the future, now you might predict it wrong, but if you say the possible futures, you're never wrong. Also, always make sure you get your invoice in before the prediction is due to come out. So you want to get paid, run, and then the prediction. That was absolutely wonderful, but we're going to go over to Sarah Jones now, and we're going to find out how have these two incredible teams, three of whom really thought about Swindon, and one of whom just knows that it's somewhere between London and Galway. How have they done? Sarah?
Well, it's all changed here, Steve, because Team Maia's mum are currently on Quake Dig Pimp.
Oh, we love numbers with pimping.
But cool kids have mixed feelings on headphones, are storming ahead due to their excellent museum and art curation because they are on Scythe Dig Scythe.
Oh, just incredible scores. Just to deal with a few things coming in on the comments. Someone says somewhere between London and Galway is Dublin, surely. Dublin, of course, is in the Swindon area. Someone says, how do you become a futurologist? I did 2 job interviews and then I signed a contract. It's that simple. Basically, everyone just says Audrey's won it on their own, which is, I mean, people are screaming the answers. I don't know what that means. So thanks for using Hoover, the neediest app. From the minute you register, it sends you an email about every 40 seconds telling you about something that's going on. It's been a vital part of my day today. I hope all of you got a chance to think about the things that I asked you to think about before you come along, like who would win in a fight between a bear and a shark, and who killed JFK, and would you rather be rich but only be able to be in Swindon, or be poor but be allowed to go anywhere you want? I hope you thought through all these serious issues. It's not my fault that there's the registration app allows me to do loads of nonsense. So I did nonsense for every single one. It did have a thing where I could suggest like reading that people should do before they come to the session. So I just put the website of my wildly successful Dungeons and Dragons podcast, Chaotic Adequate. That's the website, chaoticadequate.com. We've got a final round. And this round, I mean, it's what we like to do on Never Explain. We lost somebody. Oh, Maia's been unspotlighted by herself or by Rod. We don't know. Are you and Rod just having a little party up the top all on your own, Maia? Because you've just been cut from the main feed. You might need to fix that for our friends. There we go. Thanks, Rod. What was I doing? Oh, yeah, we like to do the classics. We've done Shag, Marry, Kill as a final question. We've done Would You Rather as a final question. Today we're doing Who Would Win in a Fight? I'm going to come to you in the order that I sent you the questions. No, Maia and Jessamyn are on the same team. I can't do that. I'm going to mix it up a little bit. But first, we're going to go to Maia, Elliott. Tell me, Maia, who would win in a fight? Now, it's important that you understand these are not metaphorical fights. These are real fights, right? Yeah. You can't be like, I feel one is better. No, it's a real fight. Yeah. Punches thrown, shots fired, whatever it is. Shots fired was just for Jessamyn, who is American. Can't imagine a fight without guns. Audrey might be American or Canadian. I can never tell the difference. In my head, I filed her under Canada because she seems too nice to be American, unlike Jessamyn, who is a hard ass.
I'm American.
Oh, well, you don't seem it. I mean, that's the biggest compliment you can give to an American, isn't it? I thought you were Canadian. North. It's like, yeah, I mean, it's like saying to an Englishman, oh, I thought you were Welsh. It's a real compliment. Maia, tell me, who would win in a fight between an unstoppable force and an immovable object?
Okay, well, you know how you said not to do it metaphorical, but that's totally what I've done. So, I, like, as a scientist, one of the things you need to do is get a case study, right? If you're going to actually measure who would win between an unstoppable force and an immovable object. So I was like thinking, what case studies do I know? Obviously, it's a paradox, so does it really exist? And then I realized that I encounter this at least once a week when I have the unstoppable urge to pee, but the immovable object is me just about to fall asleep. So I thought, okay, so who would win this battle? Now, obviously, the objective here, winning, is me not having to go to the loo before I go to bed. So I need to take a few variables into account. One of them is how much liquid have I drunk? And can I fall asleep before that liquid hits my bladder? Because as soon as I fall asleep, this antidiuretic hormone is released into my body, which is why we don't need to pee when we sleep most of the time. Now, of course, there are a couple of like confounding factors, like what is the in duvet versus ex duvet temperature difference? That's a very important factor, can swing the whole thing. And then, yeah, I think I came to the conclusion that most of the time the immovable object can win, but it's just winning a battle because actually the unstoppable force of needing to pee will win the war. And that's because the longer I actually resist the urge to pee, the weaker my bladder gets. So the less I can resist the unstoppable force, hence them winning the war, even if I sometimes.
Do you mind if I ask a follow-up question, Maia?
Yeah, go on.
Which is worse, the having to get out of bed when you're tired to have a wee, or the 3 a.m. wake-up wee?
I mean, this is it. It's pretty tight. It depends on the temperature, I think. I think it depends on the temperature. If you're like really snuggled up and you're warm in your bed and you're about to fall asleep, then obviously it's worse to get out of bed. But yeah, it's better to risk it. There's also the observation bias thing. Is someone there to judge you if you wet the bed? Like, that's a big factor.
Yeah. No, it's a real challenge for me, this one, now that I'm a parent. I didn't used to care, but now if I get up at 4 a.m. and have a wee, there's a chance that I wake my kids up. Because they're super, sometimes they sleep like logs, and you can watch like Napalm Death concerts on YouTube and they don't notice. But sometimes they're like a tiny trigger, and you sneeze 2 boroughs away and they wake up. Or they just sense that their mother's not in the house and they wake up. So yeah, going for a wee, like definitely don't flush. Flushing is right out. Flushing during the night, it's like, if either of us flushes as we head back in the room, the other one is like, you're sleeping in the spare room now. You're sleeping in the spare room and you're dealing with them, because the flushing is right out. But yeah, the 4 a.m. sneak through, you can't turn any lights on because they'll detect a light on within a mile of their bedrooms. It's just, they're too clever. Anyway, right, so I always have to have a wee before I go to bed, before I even think of lying down. Because I'm thinking about 4 a.m. and like getting up at 4 a.m. for a wee is bad. Getting up at 4 a.m. to do childcare until 7 when your partner gets up, and then goes, why are the kids so tired? It's because I had a wee. Like, you've got to, these are things like, your life really changes when you become a parent, and all this stuff becomes much more important. That was a great answer. Now we're going to go to Shivani. Shivani, tell me, who would win in a real, not metaphorical, literal fight between Wales and the southwest of England?
So I've decided that Wales will be having this fight with the southwest of England because they're trying to defect from the Swindon-area. And Wales being a whole country and having their own language worked as a secret code. So they'd be able to communicate with each other in a way that we wouldn't be able to understand, being people from the Swindon-area. Also, they've got Sarah Jones and she's got the point. So I'm going to say she adds a lot of value to them as you know, a team trying to defect from the Swindon-area. But, you know, because we are the Swindon-area and now we have part of the USA, what we would do is we would get all of the people from Wales who are trying to invade the Swindon-area and the southwest around the magic roundabout. We direct them with diversions and put them around the magic roundabout, going round and round and round and round and round so long so that they're actually swimming around the magic roundabout. It gets to 2050, and it'll trap the defecting Welsh people. And because we've got parts of the USA in the Swindon-area who will obviously be strong allies towards us, we'll get all of those people with rifles from Florida over here, not actually shoot anyone because I don't want to deal with that mess, but it will scare the defecting Welsh people to actually go back to Wales and happily live amongst the Swindon community again.
Great answer. Great answer. I mean, you're right that it'll be difficult, the communications. You won't be able to intercept Welsh communications, but they'll intercept all of yours. Unless, of course, they need to talk about any even numbers where they will have to switch to a language that you understand. It'll be a dead giveaway. I feel I made that easier by including Florida in the Swindon-area, but there you go. I mean, it's difficult because like you've got to match up the bits of the southwest with the bits of Wales. So you want to take Swindon and put them up against Newport, right? Just make the stabby towns go at each other. And then like who's going to fight Bath? Because that is an easy fight. That is just 18 to 21-year-olds and OAPs. There's no one else in Bath. There's no one between the ages of 21 and 70 in Bath. So I mean, who's gonna like? Sorry, Sarah, which bit of Wales are you going to put for them?
Right, it's got to be Carmarthen. It's entirely
Carmarthen. Yes, of course. But you compare the bits off, and then you see what you've got left. A wonderful, wonderful answer, Shivani. Thank you so much for that. Thank you for being very clear on who's going to win. Let's fly over now to Jessamyn. Jessamyn, as we know, invented physics in her alter ego as Isaac Asimov. I don't really know who's who in physics. They're all the same, aren't they? Isaac Einstein. Isaac Asimov. One of them. And we're going to go to Jessamyn Fairfield. Tell me, who would win in a literal, actual fight between a proton and a neutron?
So, I mean, you might initially think like neutron stars, you know, very dense, the like degeneracy pressure on neutrons. Like neutrons can keep their elbows out under a very high pressure crowd, right? But a neutron by itself, you know, a neutron alone versus a proton, I mean, even though they have an electrostatic charge, like protons have a lower resting mass. So they're like that guy in a kung fu movie who can just get hit as many times, never falls down. You know, he has great horse stance. That's a proton. And I think the neutron would just be like wailing away. The proton's like, oh, come at me, bro. And eventually the neutron would just undergo beta decay and it would turn into a proton, an electron, and a neutrino. Now you just have two protons. They fall in love, make helium. Rest is history. Proton wins.
Incredible, incredible, incredible. That was just, it was so lovely to hear. I didn't really follow it. It's all a bit over my head. I don't really know what a proton and a neutron are. I just wrote the question by Googling physics words. Good, beautiful answer. Because, I mean, like Maia, I've got a PhD in genetics. I finished mine, but it's of no more worth than hers that she dropped out from. I did a gig recently in Nottingham where I did my PhD, and my old PhD supervisor signed up to take part in the comedy show. And the worst thing was we did the show and then I went to the pub with the cool people, but then he also came to the pub and he just sat there and told all these people about what my terrible work ethic and what a crap scientist I was. And it's like, yeah, I do have a crap work ethic. That's why I'm now a freelance stand-up comedian and you're still a professor of human genetics. But also, right, when I went for my PhD interview, here are the questions. He said, who would you have in your fantasy football league team? Because my lab has been bottom of the fantasy football league for the last 2 years, and I want a PhD student who's going to fix that. That was the only question. Let's fly over now. We've got one more answer coming up in this wonderful round, and it's from Audrey Nayl. Now, Audrey is one of the greatest parents that I know, a huge parenting hero of mine, which is why Audrey has got this question. Audrey, tell me, who would win in a literal, not metaphorical fight between, on the subject of PhD students, 100 physics PhD students and 2,000 toddlers, Audrey Nayl?
Well, first of all, I couldn't help but notice the math involved in this question. See, that's how you know an American math, not maths, just one math. And the math was that 2,000 toddlers versus 100 physics PhD students is a 1 to 20 care ratio. Now, toddlers are usually cared for. You may not know this if you're not, a fascinating parent who's responsible for small animals that try to kill themselves. But they're normally, when you, in the home, it doesn't matter what your care ratio is because parents aren't, nobody is giving you a receipt for it. But they're normally legally in a childcare setting, they're cared for in like a 1 to 3 ratio. Well, depending on the age of the toddler, but they're cared for in a 1 to 3 ratio. And that's the ratio to actually care for them and like do wholesome, helpful activities like feeding them fruit. 1 to 5, I think, is what you're allowed to do in stop them killing themselves, basically. Yeah. 1 to 10 is the bare minimum that stops them killing you. And that's in adults with transferable skills. So I think in a 1 to 20 ratio, I think the 2,000 toddlers would quickly overwhelm the 100 physics PhD students. Unfortunately, I don't know the exact way that they would do this. It could just be the shock. But if you want me to paint, if you need me to go into any detail, paint a picture, I'm willing to do that. But I was looking at this strictly from a mathematics perspective.
Incredible. I'm thinking about all the ways that my kids could kill PhD students.
I just think about all the ways my kids could kill.
Yeah. I mean, just they could destroy them with the simple one that a PhD student would go, do you like me? And my daughter would go, no.
My kid, my 4-year-old. So my whole, when I pictured myself having kids, I pictured them asking me these amazing science questions and I would answer, speaking to them on their level, and I would bring them the joy of the natural world. But my 4-year-old was a silent child for most of their childhood and they didn't speak. And so I didn't get that. And then finally, it started. Now they're 4 and finally the questions have started. And what they asked me, Mommy, why are squirrels real?
It's a good question.
It's a very, very good question. Why is anything? It's a good question, of course, that they should be asking you. My kids haven't worked out questions like, well, they've worked out some questions. They've worked out how to go, chocolate? And what my daughter does is she'll go, chocolate? And you go, do you want some chocolate? And she'll go, okay. As if you've bullied her into it. It's like, you brought it up. I was just checking that was what you meant when you just made a noise. Because my son just makes a noise like, fwaff. It's like, what is that? I mean, you want a glass of Diet Vimto? Okay. Parenting is very hard. It's a lot of them telling you things and you repeating what you think they've said, and they look at you like, do you not even understand basic English? I said, wah. And that means I went on the slide. It doesn't mean let's go inside. It doesn't mean... Right, anyway, enough moaning about my kids, because I've got to see them tomorrow morning, whereas I don't have to see this audience tomorrow morning, unless this show really overruns. But what are we all going to do tomorrow? Let's just take a moment to think about that. Here at the Festival of Tomorrow, I am going to take my kids to a playground. We're going to go to the playground with the biggest swings, because that's the sort of thing that I know about. I've mapped every playground for a mile with how long the chains are on the swings. But now we're going to go, basically, I've just been building the tension with all of this chat, because we've had all of the questions, we've had all of the answers, we've had all of the points, but we haven't had all of the Welsh mathematics. But we're going to get it now. So let's fly over to Wales, then remember that she's gone back to London, fly back to London, Sarah Jones, and find out how it's all gone.
Well, Steve, in last place, we've got everybody else in the world who's currently on 0 points.
Yeah.
Unfortunate for them. They just didn't put the work in. In third place, we've got you on 1 point.
Yes! Come on, me.
But then coming in second place, we've got Maia's mum's gang, who are on 88.
That's a huge score, though. Huge. I mean, like, not a bad number to come second on. That would have beaten a lot of teams that we've had on here. A lot of London-based teams barely get out of the 40s, Swindon. That's what I'm saying.
But absolutely storming home to win today.
Yes.
We've got Ambivalence About Headphones on 100 points.
What? All of those points scored by Audrey's model, essentially. Incredible work. No, Shivani put in good work as well. Well done, Shivani. Yeah, and Shivani having more interesting paintings behind them than anyone else. That was absolutely wonderful. So, friends, if you've enjoyed this, we do more of them. If you go to youtube.com/science show off, that's where they all turn up. You can go there and see different bits of Bath University, fight it out. Yes, Bath has a university. Who knew? Literally no one who applies to university, as you'll know if you've seen how many places they offer in clearing. And it's all facts. You can laugh, but it's all facts. What else? Oh, there's loads of stuff on there. You can see more Jones. You can see more Jessamyn. You can see Jessamyn answering the question, backhanded compliments for the other team, which might be my most favourite thing I've ever asked. And you'll see more of these wonderful people and more of me. Has anyone got anything they want to advertise, players?
More gigs like this also from Bright Club Ireland that are all running.
Bright Club Ireland, yeah. You can go to brightclub.ie.
Yeah, brightclub.ie.
Maia would like to advertise eating more securely. Shivani, do you want to advertise BBC Wiltshire?
No, considering you've mentioned your podcast about 1 million times, I was going to mention mine because my co-producers would kill me otherwise. It's called The Logbooks, and it's all about Britain's LGBTQ plus history. Think alike, the real stories behind the TV show It's a Sin.
Yes, but I want people to advertise.
Available everywhere. The Logbooks.
The log. Can I just double check the pronunciation? Was that The Logbooks? Is your podcast the log? I'm reading it now. The Logbooks. The Logbooks. So when you're thinking podcast, think The Logbooks. Anyone else anything to advertise? Sarah, just want to advertise Welsh produce generally. Buy Welsh whiskey, Welsh cheese.
Buy Welsh flag, put it up in your house.
Yeah, buy a Welsh flag, put it up in your house, and then do an important government interview in front of it, because it'd be a nice change from all those weird Union Jacks. Thank you all very much for being part of this lovely, lovely, lovely show. It's been fun toying with you. And poll results: the bear would beat the shark, 67%. You're wrong. as everybody knows if you've read the book Bear vs. Shark. My keys are in my pocket. The cat, I don't have a cat. Keyhole, yes. I live in such a nice area now that someone knocked on my door to tell me my keys were in my door, rather than where I used to live, where they would just nick them. In the fridge, dark side of the moon, no. On the key hanger, I don't have a key hanger. Do people still need keys? Where do you live? Brilliant. Thank you all so much for being part of this absolute nonsense. The festival of tomorrow will be back next year, which is like a really long tomorrow. Imagine 365 tomorrows, unless it's a leap year next year, in which case 366 tomorrows. Rod, the person in charge of it, is looking at me off screen like, what are you talking about? Rod, you've been brilliant. Can I have a big round of applause for all of our players, please? Rod, when is the festival back?
Big round of applause for Steve for bringing this show here, everyone.
No, don't applaud me.
That's no sound effects. It wasn't that good. Not good for sound effects. Too many Swindon jokes. You're all Swindonians now. Swindon is the centre of the universe. You just need to know that. We will be back.
Rod, when is the Festival of Tomorrow back?
It's going to be back next year. It's going to be back. This is the second year of the Festival of Tomorrow, but I think with this show we might have peaked. That's my only concern. But we will be back physically and probably online too, I suspect, next year. So always the Friday and Saturday, the end of half term in February. It's now the #1 science festival in the Swindon-area calendar. So
which is huge.
It is huge.
Yeah,
it is. So
that's New York Science Festival, right?
That includes the Midwest of the United States. That is true.
And Rod, genuine question. One of the big partners of the festival, I know, is the local science museum. Can you get them to accession Audrey's incredible diorama, Swindon of 2050?
Essentially, just consider it done. I can speak for all of the Swindon area.
Good
night.
Bye
Thank you to all audience.
Bye-bye. See you in the chat. Bye. See you on Facebook, Maia's mum. Bye.
Hoover won't let us in until the time hits, so someone will wave at me when we're live.
Can we make our team name My Mom Is Watching?
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
It'll be aspirational for me.
Sorry, because of the short depth of field, you can't see it. It says, "Hi Astrid, why have you never accepted my Facebook friend request?"
Oh my God.
I think you've just answered your own question, Steve.
No, it starts now, friends. It starts. This is the beginning of the show. Like, I'm wearing my Birds Aren't Real t-shirt.
Oh, yeah. I like
birds aren't real.
Okay. So
hello, Audrey. How are you? I've got a couple of members of UKRI staff here. It's very exciting. Some people who actually could be fired for what they say tonight.
I had to check first.
Audrey, I can't hear you.
Like, I checked first. Can you hear me at all?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'm wearing headphones, and I asked Steve, like, do you think the cool kids wear headphones, right? And he's like, I always wear headphones. And I was like, oh, I'm sorry.
So the answer is no, the cool kids don't wear headphones, apparently.
Exactly. Like, oh, this is awkward for both of us now.
AirPods.
What is this?
Are these AirPods?
No, it's a very cheap alternative. It's a £39 from Amazon, alternative to AirPods.
Your mother's replied.
Yes!
What has my mother said?
Haha, ask Hanstrid Zverva, and I'm all yours.
Oh my God. She's given you her sailing Facebook.
Also, brilliantly, somebody else has marked this question as answered. Someone I don't know has been like, well, Maia's mum's dealt with that.
She just give her Facebook to like everyone who's potentially watching.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah, right. I'm off to do it.
That is one way to get friends. I might put my Instagram in there.
It's a good idea.
I ask, do our names so you know how some people have, we got our names. Will this Zoom chat now start and become the actual show? Like, because mine keeps always like defaults to Audrey Nayl UKRI, which I'm not gonna have.
It just says Audrey Nayl under you.
Yeah, because I changed it. If you change it immediately, then it doesn't show up. So I don't want anyone to know that.
Are you not going to like make it clear in the introduction?
Well, I am, but I'm not.
Guys,
I don't want it to
hold
be
on,
in my name.
Rod. Are we going live?
We're about to go live.
Who's the spare Steve Cross who's appeared up the top, by the way?
The imposter.
Is there a spare Steve Cross? I don't see that one.
Yeah, there's one underneath you.
Yeah, he's got like a black screen.
Rod, can you mute them or kick them?
I literally can't even see them.
I don't think they're on Spotlight.
I want to message them.
We're on Spotlight and